Hi, everyone. First, I just wanted to say I am so sorry about the tech issues that we had this morning, and it prevented us from doing this live. We used a platform that we've been using for a very long time for events, but apparently they just partnered with Zoom, and I guess things are not ironed out. So we have a urgent ticket in with them, but in the meantime, we didn't want to have to reschedule, have you adjust your calendar. We understand as business owners, content creators, all of it, time is important. So we decided to create this on demand for you. So you can watch it on your own time. If you have questions after, you can absolutely reach out. We're happy to dive in to anything that you want us to expand on. And as another little apology, we're going to just send you some extra stuff because we just feel awful. We know what it's like to set time to learn something new and to make it a priority, and then it just doesn't happen. So thank you so much for your patience. It is not often that tech fails us, but so frustrating when it does. So now let's dive into a topic that I absolutely love talking about: how to build an AI content engine that actually ranks you in search and not get buried. It has never been more important to learn this the right way. I cannot scroll LinkedIn without seeing a ton of misinformation. With the way that the platforms are cracking down on AI generated content and just all of it, it has never been more important to make sure that you are learning from a professional, or if somebody is working on your brand, that they know what they're doing. AI is so new that there are very few actual experts in the space, and it is so concerning, some of the things I saw on LinkedIn and other platforms as well. I think people can easily destroy your business with the wrong information. So we decided to make this webinar to basically inform everyone. We've been in the AI space for quite a while now. So I'm just going to jump in and start giving you some background on us and tell you how you can avoid the misinformation. Okay, so first, we're not a side hustle. I don't know if it was during COVID or whenever this happened, but it seems like a bunch of people went to YouTube University and decided they could call themselves a digital marketing agency or an expert. And it is terrifying because, again, just tons of misinformation out there. It takes a lot of knowledge. It is a career path, it is not a side hustle. Being responsible for someone's brand, whether you're giving them advice or you're working directly on it, is so important. I always say, would you cut someone's hair if you didn't go to hair school? It's just very frightening. So we have been in this industry forever. I was around when social media first came out. Pre MySpace, if anybody remembers Friendster, I was involved from the beginning. I was a journalist, and I kept telling my producers social media is going to be a thing. This whole thing is absolutely going to be a thing. I feel like I've spent my whole career telling people that things are going to be a big deal. And so I've spent the last over 20 years, I'm sure you can tell that's how long social media has been out, helping people adopt new technologies and just stay ahead of the changing times. And I can say that nothing has ever moved as fast as AI, and just the entire industry is shifting. So we dove in a while ago, long before anybody even understood AI or knew what ChatGPT was. And we decided to learn how to use it in a way where we could protect business owners. We could teach them how to use it. We could learn the risks, all of that, and help them adopt it in their journey. So that's just a little bit about us. I won't go on and on and on about myself, but I have been in the industry. I have helped some major names, some NHL players, Olympic medalists, NBA players, large companies, small companies, everyone in between. We are very passionate about helping people grow. So I won't bore you with more details about me. You can check out our website if you want to see case studies and things like that. I'm not dro- I'm not dropping these to brag. I'm dropping them because trust is so important right now. Like I said, a lot of people are claiming to be experts. I just wanted to show you a little bit about what our clients are saying. This is Mike Richter. We had a huge task with him. getting everybody to stop thinking about him as an NHL legend and start taking him seriously in the clean energy space. So he trusted us with his brand. We've had some other professional athletes also trust us with their brand. And again, this is not name dropping or bragging. I just want you to know that we actually know what we're doing and you can trust everything we're saying. Now let's dive into the fun part. Everything has changed. I mean, absolutely everything. Like I said, I have never seen everything happen all at once. It is wild. Everything from search to social algorithms to email deliverability, just like everything all at once. So I get it, it's so overwhelming. But the most important things to know about how everything has changed is that there's a big opportunity because everybody's sort of scrambling. A lot of people are listening to the misinformation. There's a big window if you pivot now. I can't stress enough how important it is right now. So, search is not the only way people find information anymore. I'm sure you know. I will tell you, I have worked with thousands upon thousands of business owners, professionals, creators throughout my time. And everybody has this same business hat, I call it. It's like they have their own like persona, who they are, but as soon as they start working on their business, they get like all businessy and professional and they forget who they are as a consumer and what works. So I tell people, think about how you're searching now. Has it changed? Are you looking at YouTube for answers? Are you going to Reddit? Are you searching on TikTok? Are you asking ChatGPT or Perplexity? If you haven't tried Perplexity, by the way, and you're only using ChatGPT, I'm going to include a link with this on-demand video. I highly recommend checking it out. It is a research tool. It gives you sources and all of that. And with the difficulty of ChatGPT 5, I cannot recommend it enough. So think about how people are searching. They're looking in ChatGPT. Voice search is another big one. A few years ago, when Siri, Alexa, all that started happening, I think people thought that it would never get this far. The thought of saying things out loud and asking questions and having, something answer it was wild. And now it is set to be like a primary way that people are searching, if not already. A lot of people are really reliant on Siri and Alexa. I personally, and anyone on my team will tell you this, I use Alexa to set alarms and reminders for me. And it's like every meeting I'm like, Alexa, snooze the alarm, So I definitely ask Alexa questions in my search journeys. So it's not just Google anymore. And when you're searching in Google, if you are sticking to the traditional search platforms, you'll notice everything has changed about the search engine results page, or SERP, SERP. Now we have AI recommendations and suggestions at the top, even above the sponsored. So the organic stuff is driving way down. So a lot of the old SEO stuff, it just doesn't work anymore. And I cannot stress what I'm about to say enough. Be very careful trusting anyone that promises you SEO right now. Very few people actually know what it takes these days. It has changed. It has shifted so much. So AI tools are another big way that people are searching for things. And the AI tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google Gemini, Claude, whichever one you're using, they're pulling from a wide variety of sources. It's not the same as Google. So how you get into those places, there's a lot of steps involved. But I always tell people, if you're not answering the questions that your audience is searching, then you're not going to come up anymore. It's not about hacks. It's not about metadata and all that stuff. I'll dive into that in a little bit. That stuff still matters, but it's just kind of on the sidelines. So you need to figure out who your audience is, what they're searching for, and then answer questions. And I'll get into that more. But I just wanted to talk about how everything is changing. Besides that, and take the business hat off and think of yourself as a consumer. we're sick of being sold to. I am so sick of being sold to. The amount of spam calls, LinkedIn inbox messages. I can't believe people are still doing that. I really can't. Um, I'm over it. Everyone's over it. So websites, like, they can't be just sales landing pages anymore. A lot of times people are looking at a website and it's just all about buy from me. This is how amazing I am. And this is why you should be a customer. But think about how many other people are saying that exact same thing. It just doesn't resonate with people anymore. They don't care about you. They don't want to hear about you. They want to know how you're going to solve their problems, how you're going to make them more rich, more smart, more beautiful, younger, all that kind of stuff. Like, how does your business solve problems for them? And that's what you need to lead with. Not only because that's what the search algorithms and all of that is, that's what they're looking for, but that's what your audience is going to resonate with. So it has never been more important to, like, be authentic. I hate the word authenticity. I feel like it's a buzzword and it's played out, but there's no hacks involved in search engine optimization or AI optimization. People are making up a million different names for it, but at the end of the day, it's still all search engine optimizations because AI is still a search engine. So you basically need to, like, genuinely answer their questions and solve their problems, not just try to stuff things with keywords and things like that. There are ways to optimize the content, but at the end of the day, at the core, that needs to be your focus. It needs to shift away from why we're so amazing to here's answers to the questions that matter to you, and then how we can help you solve it secondary. So let's see, did I miss anything? If your content, I have said this, but if it does not answer those questions, you're just not going to show up at all, anywhere, very soon. Even if, I guess it's important for me to say in this particular slide, everything is resetting. People who might have owned, page one on Google prior, or people that dumped like $50,000 into SEO and all that, it doesn't matter anymore. It is resetting. So you have a big window right now to be an authority in your market, because there's so much, like I said, there's so much misinformation. Plus there's so much hesitation for adoption that if you pivot now, you're ahead. You're so far ahead. If you do it the right way. So now is 100% the time. So I've mentioned this a lot, but I wanted to dive a little bit deeper on the noise that's out there. As you can see in the image there, there's, a lot of people saying like, this is AI, use this content, what's trending. It's a wild world. Social media is saturated with misinformation. The amount of prompts I see alone on social media, you should not be prompting. If you're prompting, you are definitely in the beginning stages of AI. If you've been using AI deeply, you should not be prompting the way that people are posting it online, because it just will mess up everything about your training. It's all about training your model and conversing and interacting in the right way. So just shut out all that noise. I think we should normalize asking people to see their resume when you're trusting their advice or they're working on your brand, because I can tell you 85% of the information that I see out there on social is inaccurate. And it's just wild. I've sat in on some calls recently that businesses have asked me to listen in on calls with their current marketing firm, large national marketing firms, spewing misinformation that caused this business to be buried and to not even show up on Google Maps and things like that. So please, please, please be careful. I know I told you about us, but we are all AI experts on my team. We are deep training models. We know what we're talking about. Plus, we tie in the branding. So I'm going to mention in a minute, the key to a content engine is everything needs to be together. I'll dive into that a little bit more in a minute, but everything is going to work together. Like, social isn't on one side, email marketing isn't on the other, Google, it's all together now. It is all together. So stay away from the SEO hacks. Stay away from anybody that promises you SEO. Basically, SEO is not a tech job anymore. So if you're getting approached by like tech people, who are promising you things, you need to find somebody that's doing it all together as a whole system, because it matters the AI training, it matters the branding, all of that kind of stuff. So shut out that noise. Stop trusting the posts you see on LinkedIn as well of this is how you rank on AI. I mean, I post some of that too, but just be careful who you listen to. Look at what their background is. Look at what they're saying. If what they're saying kind of doesn't align with some of the things I'm going to show you, just be careful. I see some viral posts with like thousands of comments and thousands of likes, and I'm just like, oh, please don't do that. Please don't do that. That's going to tank your deliverability and your searchability. So just be careful. The other big piece to this part of the story is most people are using AI wrong. I can promise you that. I also teach some courses and all sorts of different things. Like I have a mini masterclass, I have groups with women, I do speaking engagements, and every single time, every single person that has attended, hundreds, have told me they thought they were using AI in an advanced way and that they were floored after they took my class or sat in on one of the things I was teaching, because there's just so much misinformation. And I don't blame everybody. It's not your fault if you're using it incorrectly, because you don't know who to trust. And, if there's hundreds and thousands of people out there saying the same thing, it might seem like it's the correct information, but I promise you it's not. So if you were using it correctly, chances are your content is going to get buried and you are not going to appear in any kind of search. And soon that is going to be hard to recover from, if not already. So pivot right now. Stop using AI to generate captions and blogs and different things, even if you think that you're using it correctly or advanced and you're, training it on your voice and you're adding, editing it and things like that. It's still like most people, when I deep dive on it, they're like, wow, I had no idea. So it will lie to you. It will hallucinate. And if you think you're training it on your voice, sometimes it's just telling you what you want to hear. So it's never been more important to make sure that you're not producing generic AI. I can tell you, one of my clients, when we onboarded her, her algorithm tanked on Instagram. So we took a look at what the previous agency was doing. We grabbed a few of her captions, put them into search. So many people in her industry with the exact same content. So be careful, especially with the viral prompts as well, because ChatGPT, and I know this because I've talked to ChatGPT about it, when it gets a viral prompt, almost everyone's getting the same answer. If you're not using an interview element, any prompt that you use, again, I'm not keen on prompting in general. If, the typical like copy paste type prompting. But if there's no interview element in it, where you're jumping on voice and having it interview you, don't use it. You're going to get generic content. Even if you think ChatGPT knows you, even if you filled out your custom instructions, I promise you, your content runs a high risk of getting buried. The platforms are so strict right now. So, moral of the story, a lot of the tips that are out there also skip the part of like building authority and trust. And I see so many businesses wasting so much time and so much money. So please, please, please be careful. If, like I said, if anybody is telling you, making big promises and they don't actually have a background in those things, be careful. I've had people try to give me advice and they have no background in it. And I'm just like, please stop spreading this misinformation. It's so dangerous. So here is the truth about visibility and about what works with content in search today. So I mentioned content that answers real questions. When I say in plain English, I mean take off that business hat and speak to your audience like a human. Speak like you're in your normal voice. There is a huge shift right now. It used to be like, I don't know, a year or two ago that people had their business page and it was super branded. Everybody's feed looked nice and aesthetic and it was pretty, and it's just not like that anymore. People don't respond to that. They want to see the person. They want to do business with a person, not a logo. So there's even scenarios where I recommend to clients to merge their business and their personal pages. I do that a lot. I'm a creator on TikTok, and I link my TikTok from my business page. It has a lot of personal stuff about me, about my life. If there's something that doesn't resonate with people and they don't want to do business with me, they're probably not my ideal client anyway. So don't be afraid to take your business hat off and be a human being. It's hard. It's an adjustment. It was even hard for me to get my team to kind of step away. Like, stop with the Canva templates. Like, light Canva templates on fire and walk away from them. Literally walk away from them. They just don't work at all. And again, take your business hat off. Do you resonate with the Canva templates that you're scrolling past and it just all looks the same? I think real estate is one of the worst. I love my realtors. I have so many realtor clients, but the just sold, just listed, it's only realtors liking each other's stuff. It's not going anywhere. So, followers don't matter anymore on social media at all. Literally at all. So when I say everything is connected, I mean literally everything. Your search engine results are connected to your social media. Like, it's all together, which is connected to your Google business. Like, everything is connected, and it's building trust and authority for all of the different algorithms and crawlers and everything. Now your content in the algorithm on social media doesn't go to your followers. It's a very small amount, usually just your stories or, limited amount. For the most part, it's getting pushed out to a larger group. And how it's decided on how that's pushed out is SEO. It's the words coming out of your mouth in the videos. It's the words in your caption, the words on your carousel slides. It all matters with SEO. And I think that's a lot of the reason it's important to find somebody who is building holistic systems, because it used to be that you had like a social media manager, someone handling your SEO, like a website manager, an email person. It's a combination of all of that. And that is who is most responsible for your SEO now. It's not the person writing the metadata and all of that stuff. And it's important to connect it all. It all needs to have SEO, different SEO elements to it all over the place. So stop using Canva templates and then, using AI to write random blogs, and just, you need a system that is cohesive, which I'm going to teach you about in a second. But I really needed to stress these background things. Besides the fact that you want people to see your social media content, so you want to optimize the words coming out of your mouth and captions and stuff. If you're someone that creates content a lot, by the way, I am doing a deep dive workshop we're going to literally cover every single platform. We're going to build content engines and like customize them and focus on the content creation part of this as well. If you're interested in that, just reply to the email or click to book a call, or just let someone on my team know. I believe someone on my team was going to reach out to you with this on-demand link. You can just reply and they can absolutely help you with that as well. I know I'm going to overwhelm you with a lot of information in this presentation, so I should say there's a lot of ways that we can help. This is not a sales pitch webinar, though. I just want you to know that it's a lot, what I'm going to show you, and pivoting is important, and we help people from a small scale to a large scale. So anyway, besides your social content needing that SEO in whatever you're saying and the captions, It's building authority that is supporting your website content. So for the first time, the crawlers are crawling your content, but then your social is signaling as an authority builder if people are liking and sharing and all of that. So it all matters. Every single piece of it matters together. It matters separately and also together. So important. So important to be consistent across all of it. And that's why building a content engine, and I'm not like, this is not a humble brag, but we're trailblazing. We are super far ahead of everyone right now because we dove in like a long time ago and we were like, we need to build a system. Like this has to be a whole system. There, you just can't operate in separate silos anymore. You really can't. And I'm starting to see people say you need a system like out loud now. But we have done deep dive research and we have not found anyone else who's tying all the pieces together like this. So trust me when I tell you the things that I'm telling you in this, because we have tested them. It's all true. What else? Okay, so the system has to like compound your visibility and like signal trust and authority. You cannot hack that anymore. Like you just cannot hack that. So please be careful if someone tries to do that. Like I said, the on-page SEO, like there are things that you can add to your content that helps with the authority, but at the end of the day, you need to build a valuable solution to your audience's problems and give it to them where they are. And that right there is success. And if your system isn't doing that, then it could actually be hurting you. Just one more thing to note on this. When I say plain language, we're also real like the attention span. We all know this. It's not a surprise. Everyone that's watching this knows this. But your content needs to be like skimmable in plain language. I think it's 7th grade reading level is what it should be at to be skimmable and digestible to people. So one of the hardest things I had to like rein my clients in on, and I still struggle with some of them, you have to kind of let go of your like deep blogs, that are just long and things like that. It needs to be optimized and it's hard to let go of. It's not your followers anymore, that's seeing your stuff. So it needs to be short, skimmable, and digestible. So important. It's a hard shift. I think I had trouble in the beginning as well. And I watch every single client and even my team members. It's a hard shift. Okay, now we're going to jump into the fun stuff, the absolutely fun stuff. I'm going to tell you exactly what a content engine looks like and how to build one. So, it's basically a system built for modern search and it solves all of the different aspects and brings them together. I can't stress that enough. Everything has to work together. It makes you findable, it makes you trusted, and it also like everything gets repurposed and it's sustainable. So important. So important. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about what that means in a second, but people have to be able to find you. You have to be where they are. And then you have to have the authority already for the platforms to trust you, to use your content as a response that it's serving to somebody. But you also need to be able to reach that person. Even if AI chooses you as a response, if you've done something to try to trick that and somehow made it through, which is very I don't think it's possible, but like let's say that you did. Like I said, it's just I feel like it's impossible to scam the AI tools. But if you did, like I said, if you did, when it gets in front of your audience, you know how you search, you know how you respond to stuff. It has to provide value. It has to be what they're looking for. So it has to be a valuable content engine that answers questions where your audience is. I will just keep repeating that over and over because all these infographics you see, all of that stuff, just close it out. At the end of the day, if you build a system with what I just said, you will rank. And we're ranking people in AI number one, people with no digital footprint. I'm going to show you in a minute. So I promise you, what we're saying works. I'm not just saying don't listen to everyone else, just listen to me. Like it's a scary world. And we have a background in AI. So anyway, you're basically, and I'm going to tell you in a minute how we build it, but you're basically taking an answer to your audience's question and building content, and then you're repurposing that for every other place that they are. And that is so important. You know, people have had ways that they've repurposed before, but this is unlike anything you will ever see. And I will show you in a second. Actually, I'll show you right now. Okay, so now I'm in my content engine repurposing GPT for my team. I am taking my blog. I am just posting a link to my blog. And this is what my GPT does. It basically gets the key insights and builds a repurposing stack. It is deeply trained. So it's not just I'm giving it, no background. I mean, deeply trained. We have a proprietary voice forensic system that we do. I can show you that in a minute too, where it's not just teach ChatGPT how to sound like you. It extracts how you speak in a way that it doesn't do by using a prompt. So we've also trained it on where we post, how we post, and things like that. So it is taking that message from that blog, which answers questions to our audience about how AI search and voice search collide and like the differences and the importance. And it's building all of our content for us. And it's building it on brand. It's building it, how I speak. So the only thing we can't get it to stop doing is M dashes, but anybody that works with ChatGPT or Perplexity or any of them knows that is just impossible. So that is a look at how your system needs to be repurposing things. So when I say repurposing, that's kind of what I'm talking about. It also makes it like we can actually achieve it. Content creation has been the biggest headache for business owners and entrepreneurs and for your personal brand, all of it. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. And people are wasting so much time and money on stuff that doesn't work anymore. It's about building a system. We then take what comes out of the GPT and we have templates. So you can just grab, post. It's all about a system. It's all about a system. But it's not posting just to post either. Stop listening to those. I shouldn't say stop because I'm sure that a lot of you know that it's not a good idea. But I see people posting, I'll teach you how to make 500 pieces of content in 5 minutes. And I have to post every day. I just have to post. It's not true anymore. You don't have to post every day at all. You don't have to post every week. And you should never just be trying to mass produce content. We are getting so far away from the point. It's gotten to just like, let's just post content. What's the point? You're providing value. If you can't provide value, don't post at the end of the day. So basically your engine is taking the questions that your audience is searching for and it's answering them with content, and then it is repurposing it into multi-platform assets. That's one big piece of the content engine, and it keeps working even if you are not like actively posting and things like that. It's just constantly working, and we have proof to this, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Okay, now the fun stuff. That was just a small piece of the content engine. I'm going to give you as much information as I can without giving away our proprietary content engine. I'm going to teach you how to actually make one for yourself, but understand that there are pieces of this that we have created that no one else has, that I can't just teach everybody because we're doing big things with ranking, but I'm still going to teach you how to build one. Basically, the first thing you're going to do is what I mentioned. You're going to identify what your audience is asking. I tell people, think about those creepy things that you see on social where You're talking about something with a friend or texting, and then you go onto social and there's content there about what you were talking about. We all know what happens. It's they're listening. So what is your audience talking about that you can create that content that when they open their phone, they're like, wow, how did they know I was talking about that? You know, take your business hat off and see your audience as people and what's their life like. You know, building buyer personas is a huge part of this. We do this for clients, or in my deep dive workshop, we teach people how to do it too. It's not like it used to be where it was, you know, super formal and businessy. It's different. You know, what podcasts are they listening to? Even if it's not relevant to your business, you need to know that, because maybe there is a connection there, a partnership or advertise, like something, you know. You need to know who they are through and through in a world that we live in now, not, you know, don't put your business hat on, I guess I will say over and over and over again. So we basically figure out everything. We use AI to do research. We train it to identify the questions that your audience is asking. I'm just going to talk about us, how we build one for people. And we then map that. We map content around that. We make a topical map with different pillars, and we have a whole strategy where we map it out and figure out how we can answer those questions in a very organic way. And then also how we can present it to the user. You know, most of the time, our content engine is a website build. We'll build a website, or we'll install the content engine into somebody's website already. So we have to figure out not only all the questions and mapping content that answers them in a really organic way, but how to present it on the website that or wherever that makes it digestible. So it's not just like this website with 9,000, you know, I see people doing that too with like 9,000 blogs on it, and, you know, user experience. People want simple nowadays too, like super flashy websites, like, you know, that's over. It's all over. Simple, to the point, help me, serve me, teach me, connect with me as a human. Like that is your key. So we map those conversations. We build this whole topical map out for a particular client. And then we use our voice forensics proprietary system to train AI how to write, not only humanize, but to actually write like them. And I'm talking, they sit in a voice conversation with AI without us even there, and it extracts how they speak. We have trained it to pull out certain things for our voice forensics, and I'll show you an example. This is an example of when someone new joined our team and we were training it to create content with his voice and like to differentiate between my voice and other voices. So you can see how detailed it is. It's sentence mechanics. It's like, it's so deep. And then it talks about how, you know, the difference between how I write and all of this. Then we have diagnostic tools, guardrails, all that kind of stuff. And then instead of prompts, we work in data sets as we're training. And I feel like I can't recommend it enough. If you haven't really learned about how to use AI the right way, definitely connect with me. We have a million different ways to do it and help. It's so important. But that's a look at how deep our voice forensics is. It's not just, here's a prompt on how to train ChatGPT to sound like you, and you're just giving it samples. That's not going to work anymore. Now, once we have trained it and on basically how to speak and talk about the brand and each decision maker and all the different people, there's quite a few different voices inside of a brand that we do the voice forensics on, and different, you know, use cases for that. After we're done with that, we then need to start creating that content in that map that we've built. Once we start building that, we work with the client to you know, just to tweak everything. And then we're structuring the content in a way that is basically set up for the AI crawlers and for Google and all of that. And the way to do that is to answer the questions. think about how the search engine results pages are laid out right now. It's questions and then answers. So instead of long form, like, and it's sad, I have to say, I'm a journalist, like, writing is my thing. It's hard to let go of that and to format it in a way that people can digest. I'll give you an example. This is one of our wholesaler clients. Now, it might look a little, I'm on a gigantic screen, by the way, and I have it like pulled. I have it not responding. But this industry is saturated with websites that basically say, we'll give you cash with like flashy, like free, it's like it's just an ad and for that person with like pictures of them. And besides building this topical map and all of that, we tell the story, because like I said, we're not just SEO people. We're also brand. We need to position it in a way that your audience is going to digest it and want to learn more. So we shifted the whole narrative on this industry in a way of empathy. There is no good situation where somebody's going to have to sell their home for cash quickly. And these guys happen to be like veteran owned family, like they're actually really nice dudes. I know that there's some sketchy people in this industry. They're not. And we needed to tell that story. So aside from, you know, building, like setting things up for the crawlers, you can see that we built it so that they're guides for people and they can go in here at any time and, pick their situation, and every single page is optimized for how the crawlers, I'm going to show you the basics, but I would be here for like 3 hours if I showed you every detail of every page that needs to be lined up. But you have to have the authority build, the reviews, you have to have, let me go into like one of these. You have to have, you see how it's a question and then an answer that's set up for snippets, um, building trust, and then FAQs. This is like seeding the search, but they have to be written in a certain way. It's all about not only answering their questions and building it in a way that's on brand and humanized and doesn't get triggered for AI. That voice forensics is the biggest part, because if you don't do that correctly, they're just going to skip over you. Anything AI generated is getting buried now. But after that, it is about optimizing the content on the page. So yes, the old school SEO things still do matter, like metadata and all of like page titles, all that kind of stuff. But there's also a way that the pages need to be set up, and authority needs to be built so that the signals are everywhere. And also schema markup. I won't like bore you with that, but it's really important if you're doing anything that your schema, and schema is just essentially telling the crawlers what's on the page. It's actually coding. I'll show you in 1 second. So this is what schema looks like. And a lot of people just have basic ones, especially if you're using like a website tool, which we do. We actually use Wix, believe it or not. They get a bad rap for SEO, but they actually, if you see how we're building them, it works immensely. So we're building these schemas to build authority, and we're including, information about the writer in here. So it just amplifies. We're putting the FAQs in there. We have built a custom system like the other stuff. Like I said, every single aspect of what we built, we did a huge deep dive. We've been working on it for like a year and a half now. When people are starting to have these conversations, we've like already done it. So not only are we answering the questions with value, humanized, relatable content that they can skim and they can read and digest, and that provides value, and we're putting it the places that they are, and it's amplified everywhere, but we're optimizing it so that the crawlers, no matter if it's AI, Google, etc., can find it. And it's so, so, so important to have every single piece of that. If you don't have a system like that, it is going to be really, really hard to have visibility now. Extremely, extremely hard. And you know, a lot of people, I should say, the wholesalers that I showed you, you know, one of the biggest questions they had in the beginning was, why can't I just keep running ads and stuff? And, you know, the people who are ranking up high on Google, like, why am I going to bother? I'll never outrank them. Right now, it's all being reset, like completely. Even as we speak, Google is shifting things. So that doesn't matter anymore. Also, with ads, the moment that you shut them off, you lose visibility. The way that the world is moving is everybody has to do this. Like, you have to make this shift. You have to have this type of setup, or you're like, you just have to. And it's the same when I was telling people you're going to have social media, you know, and you're going to have this. And it's, if you do it now, you're going to be super far ahead. And I've said that to people through the years about so many different things. And then if they didn't, they always came back to me, and it was so much harder to get them. And a lot of times I couldn't, or it took a very long time. So having this entire system and checking all of these boxes is amazing. It will do really big things. And I'm going to show you how big. This is a case study from our first, like one of our first content engines that we installed. And it was a mini engine, I should say. We have gotten even deeper, and we're actually going to be upgrading this to some of our new add-ons and things that we do. But this was like our little first baby that we kind of put out there. And this is a realtor in the Hudson Valley, New York, an extremely saturated space. Like, real estate is so saturated, and New York, like right outside New York City, is so saturated. He had zero digital presence. He had a landing page on his agency's website that got zero traffic ever. You know, he had like an Instagram and things, but no real content and no leads coming in, no visibility, no anything. So we built a content engine. We built a home buyer's guide, a seller's guide, and a local guide. And we basically, actually, I'll show you. I will show you. We're in the middle of rebranding because he switched agencies. But this is what it looked like. And it's all, you know, this is who I am. This is why you can trust me. It's all about like being real. And then home buyer's guide, home seller's guide, local guide, and then home search. And then again, each and every one of those is just full of content. We also build deep FAQ pages as well. So, but again, we don't just throw any facts in there. We are very strategic about every step that we take when we install a content engine. So this is a look at his results. He is ranked number 1 for quite a few topics. Best tips for first-time home buyers in his market. What is the process to buy a home in his market? And how he's ranked in the top 5 of how to choose a real estate agent in his market. This one's huge right here. So huge. He is ranked number 1 against his competitors out of everyone in that market. He's number 1 in AI. And that alone is like huge against some national, like some big agencies. Aside from that, you know, he's constantly growing. This I think was like the last 2 weeks maybe. So that's not overall. This number right here is not overall. I think it's either the last 2 weeks or the last month. And same thing with the home buyers that I showed you. We literally just launched that one, and they're up like, I'll show you. I'm going to do it in real time. I'll just show you. We haven't built out their case studies yet, but I'll just give you just some examples of the craziness of how fast this can happen. This is one example. I think this was a few days after we launched the home buyers, and it's just up 500%. Like, it just started ranking and indexing faster than Something like this would normally take like a year or two in Google to like actually rank and get found. Just a quick snapshot. They are up 841% in Google search. 507. I mean, it's literally wild. These numbers are wild and they just launched. So, back to the original case study I was telling you about, not only did it rank him in AI, but he is now showing up in Google search on page one, right after the knowledge area and the sponsored for what's your home worth and what is a red flag when buying a house, which is huge. Like, obviously, anyone that knows about search, it takes years to rank on page one if you ever get there at all, especially in a saturated market like real estate. And just to further show you proof, so, because a lot of people can make up stories and, make graphics, this is the results. This is him being chosen as all of the different steps for what is the process to buy a home in the Hudson Valley, and then his guide on the value of your home in the Hudson Valley, ChatGPT and Perplexity. This is huge, like absolutely huge in real estate for someone who, another important part of this is that it is sustainable. So, for personal reasons, this particular client had to take like a 5-month break from real estate. He just had something personally going on. So, for quite a few months, and actually leading up to when we pulled these analytics, he was doing nothing to drive anything to the website at a large scale. But in the beginning, we built all of that authority. We cross-posted, we repurposed, we did all that. For the last few months, none of that was being done, and he's still ranking. This was the other day when we pulled this. So I think it might have been yesterday. I don't know, but very, very recent. So it's not like it's a quick, oh, you can land and then, you'll get buried. The people who are building authority now are going to be the ones who everybody's trying to catch up to, who sustain it, who, once these AI tools are using you as a trusted source, you're just going to continue, especially when you continue to run things through your content engine and continue to publish. So easy right now to get ahead if you do it correctly. So the one thing that I always like to really say is like, I get it. People shut down. It's 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 overwhelming for me, and I am deep into it, and it is my world. It's easy to get overwhelmed and just shut down. The tech fear, I will say, if you learn to use it correctly, there is no like tech like boundaries. You can learn it. Anybody can learn it. It can be as easy as just interacting with a friend if you learn it the right way and if you trust the right people to help you in that process and you listen to the correct information. And as far as like time constraints, once you learn it and implement something like this, it takes away all of the stuff you're wasting time on right now. So much time and money and energy is being wasted on content that doesn't work right now. The only other thing I will say is it's not a need, it's a necessity. Like I have spoken with some people who are like, oh, I'll just wait, or no, you cannot wait. Like if you do not want to basically disappear and have to just like crawl your way and fight and try to get back into where you're ranking and being shown, now's the time to pivot. You do not want to get left behind, and your customers, your target customers, they're going to expect this level of value and information. And when other people are giving it and you're not, you're just going to get left behind, unfortunately. But right now, because nobody's really figured this out yet, we've seen some people doing pieces of what we're doing, but not the whole thing, where they're ranking people fast. If you do this now, pretty much every single person we've worked with has been the first in their market and in their industry. So we're just kind of like shaking up different industries, and it's been great. So very important to pivot right now. Okay, so I told you a ton of information. I probably made your head spin right now. That is the basics of how to build a content engine. There are obviously pieces to each of those different pieces, like deep dives of like how to build schema markup and how to build a topical map. There's a lot of things become buzzwords. Like I heard somebody using topical map as a buzzword and then running with it. And then you have to do each of these things correctly to make it all work. But if you do these things, you will rank and you will be positioned ahead to thrive in whatever is to come. It will be so much easier for you to adopt any new AI tools and add them into the engine that's like seamlessly running, and you don't have the content headache anymore. You saw how easy it was for me. That one's huge alone. So we can help in so many different ways. We have installed, content engines from start to finish, where we're designing the website. We're doing it all. We're building everything. And then once we do that, we can either like keep running the engine. We're not like that kind of company that's going to gatekeep it and, make you pay us a fee and not teach you. We've also worked and made sure to train people within our clients. That's another piece of this is if you have a team and they're not using AI correctly, it's wild to me actually that there's not a lot of governance, and I think businesses don't understand how much risk is really involved. A team member who's getting a ChatGPT caption could tank all of your visibility. Like it's difficult right now. It's really important. So we have trained teams. Once we install the content engine, we have built playbooks to hand it off. Right now we are kind of keeping our engines all under our wing as well, and we're offering to like continue to update them as new things come out because it's just changing so fast. We have installed the engine in websites that already exist as long as it's like compatible and we can make it work. And then again, we've continued to maintain it or train them. We've worked with people where we helped them do it. I mentioned I have a workshop coming up where we're going to build it. It is a multi-week long workshop because we're going to build it. We're going to focus on how to implement it, all the different platforms, best practices, etc. Or we are putting together kind of like a DIY package where we're basically going to give you the tools to build one yourself. I don't recommend that unless you really are already in the industry and you know what you're doing. But we can work with really everyone, whether it's personal brands. This one's huge for personal brands right now because no one's doing that at all. So if you're a salesperson, like it is so easy right now to kind of own the space. So whether you're a personal brand or you're a solopreneur or you're a small business owner or a decision maker at a large business, we have worked with everyone. We can train your team, whatever we need to do to help you. We genuinely do not want to see people going down the path of, using hacks or trusting people who don't actually do AI for a living. So I know I gave you a ton of information. I normally have a question slide in my live. So please reach out. I'm going to give you information when I send this video of how to get in touch with us if you have follow-up questions. If you want to like deep dive on any of this stuff and talk about specific to your business, book a discovery call with us. We would love to talk about how it's relevant to your industry. Some people think that their industry wouldn't benefit from this. I can tell you we have worked with every industry at this point. And we actually have some pretty fun ones like skincare and all that stuff coming up. So I promise you this will work for you and everybody needs to do it. So if there is a way that we can help you, let's get on a call and let's talk about it. Thank you again for understanding about all of the tech issues, and I hope that you took some information that will help you in your journey. If we don't end up connecting and speaking, connect with me on social. I will also include links to my TikTok, my LinkedIn, and all of that social information. Thank you, and I wish you the absolute best in your journey from one business owner, content creator to another.